Savannah Chrisley has admitted that she gave up before her parents were pardoned. This was a hard-fought journey for the Chrisley family. However, Savannah was the one who fought the hardest in the public eye. So, by the end, she had no clue what to do that she hadn't already done. Savannah has opened up about how she was feeling moments before the pardon. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Savannah Chrisley was working nonstop to get her parents out of prison. She was showing up to press conferences, doing her podcast, getting in touch with the government, etc. She did not stop trying until her parents were free. Savannah had to take a lot on, though. She gained custody of her younger siblings, Chloe and Grayson. Not only this, but she seemed to be working harder than her other siblings to get her parents out of prison. Regardless, this was a hard time for them all, and they all wanted their parents to come home. Todd and Julie Chrisley were officially released from federal prison and have started speaking out on their different experiences. Savannah Chrisley has admitted that she had given up right before her parents were pardoned. She was at the lowest of lows before getting the call from Donald Trump. I felt like I had done everything. I had fought like hell, and nothing had happened. So I kind of threw my hands up in the air and said, "You know what, God, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep living life like this." I was not healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things. I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders, and when I laid down at night, it literally felt like I could not breathe. Long before the life-altering call from the man once ensconced in the Oval, whose pardon pen would redraw the fate of two hearts locked behind steel, Savannah Chrisley stood, alone and rigid, amid walls that felt too quiet. The Nashville mansion she inhabited. Her parents' palatial estate, columns and marble, chandeliers and echo, sat heavy on her shoulders. 42 bedrooms, endless gardens, a wine cellar deep with heirlooms. A place meant for gatherings, celebrations, stability. Now, each corridor dripped with absence. Months earlier, Savannah had become both daughter and surrogate mother. Todd and Julie, two figures larger than life, once the pulsing core of Chrisley Knows best, crescendoed into court transcripts. Convicted of bank fraud, tax evasion, sentenced to 19 years combined. Reports that their documents were literally glued and cut, flimsy illusions of wealth, collapsed under indictment's weight. In January 2023, their sentences began. Savannah inherited roles she never asked for: caretaker, provider, emotional anchor. When she tried dressing her niece, Chloe, she broke, tears streaming, failing to keep a composure she barely held. "I am not their mother. I'm their sister," she thought, sinking to the floor, hearing the echo of silence in her own voice. Good morning, America. Almost 2 years of this, fending for siblings, managing the house, campaigning for their release, speaking at political rallies, battling illusions that fame, money, or whiteness had secured them a pass. Rumors swirled, payments, leers, unnatural shortcuts. For Savannah, they thrummed like lies. She endured them, retelling herself. "I fought like hell. Flew to Washington with no meetings, barged into wrong rooms, clawed into hallways until someone saw their case. Relentless, she was relentless. Each day blurred into one fight. She was told to brand, to distance, but brand felt empty when life had collapsed. So she leaned in, dug deeper. When asked what helped her, she thought of that prison chapel. Among hardened walls, she felt presence. Jesus, then, was what held her. Entertainment Tonight she became a vessel of stretched faith and frayed hope. Until, one afternoon, inside a Sam's Club parking lot, where fluorescent lights hum above carts and cheap cardboard boxes framed suburban mundanity, the phone rang. Trump. The pardon. Words landed without warning. A call that shattered inertia. "You don't look like terrorists," the thought itself unraveling her heaviness. Inside, concrete hope cracked. She felt breath for the first time in months. In that moment, she exhaled 2 years of fear. "I still don't believe it's real." She felt tears, rage, celebration, exhaustion, all twisting inside until they'd poured outward, without speech. The mansion trembled with the weight of coming change. Preparations began. Clothes for Mom. A room made ready for Dad. She organized closets between tear-streaked moments of disbelief. And then, one day, they were home. The clang of keys, the hush of front doors, the echo of reunion. The family's reality TV cameras clicked back on. A new docuseries, originally designed to chronicle absence, now pivoted to document healing. Raw, Savannah was transformed, from caretaker to sister again. Mall dates and discipline. Makeup counters and gables returned. Grayson grew into teenage years, reluctantly parented but deeply loved. She exhaled into the life she once knew, slowly. Contracts shifted. The mansion, a burden now rather than a home, stayed behind. She longed for simplicity. A condo, a space unencumbered by landscapers and pool machines, a place where self-care meant turning off lights, not managing estates. Manistee News advocate she did not speak any triumphant speech. Her return to normalcy was unspoken, visible in mundane moments. Packing, shopping, small laughter, shared smiles. The healing wasn't loud. It was a touch, an exhale, a lost hope coursing back. 2 months after release, she wore her first carefree, 28-year-old life again. The fight had ended. But the memory of being ready to give up, that voice still echoed. When everything was poised to shatter, when her siblings needed her the most, she had chosen not to surrender. That resolve became her story's quiet heartbeat. I freeze in the aisle of Sam's Club, cart half full of groceries, phone clutched loosely in hand, waiting, praying. Days feel like months. 2.5 years have crawled by since Mom and Dad were taken, sentenced, boxed behind bars. And in all that time, the calls I made, the flights I took, the doors I knocked on. Hope felt like a whisper drowning out in storm. I'd started to believe maybe I was the only believer left on. The breaking point there were nights when the weight of parenting 2 kids and loving for 5 felt unbearable. I felt every thread of energy unraveling. Raising Grayson, protecting Chloe, juggling real estate classes and legal fights, while holding it together for the cameras, for the public. I had prayed with everything I had, stood on stages talking justice, delivered speeches, made TikToks, pushed through crush of grief and frustration. But hope? Hope slipped away. I remember one afternoon, scrolling through voices saying it wasn't fair, that maybe I'd bought the pardon or worse. Slept my way to his attention. The humiliation cut deep. In a moment of broken honesty, I said, the reason my parents got pardoned wasn't because I bought it or slept with anyone. It was because I refused to give up. I fought like hell. That was it, my quiet battle cry too. The call that changed everything in then, out of nowhere. My phone rang. It was him. President Trump. He said something like, "Your parents are going to free and clean. We'll try to get it done by tomorrow." I was walking into Sam's Club. I didn't know what to say. My heart pounded so loud, I thought it'd give me away. I remember whispering. I'd gotten to a place where I'd lost hope. And then I got the call. It was just a shock. I still don't believe it's real. I'm freaking out. I heard the words full pardon, not just a commute, complete forgiveness. My phone buzzed with messages, love, disbelief. I suddenly saw the upstairs, picking clothes for them, arranging their room. I was picking them up. I was going home. I've thought 1,000 times about why we got that pardon. I boarded flights with no meeting scheduled. I begged for doors to open. I sat in the right rooms at the right time. I met the right people. I fought hard. I ran on stubborn faith. I remember telling people. I had to fight, and I was relentless. And that's how it happened. Finally, people listened. I was tired, but I didn't stop. Even when people said I had an upper hand because I was white, because I was a reality star, I told them, no, this was not given easily. Every interview, every speech, every tear was earned. I had sacrificed everything for their freedom for the emotional aftermath when the news was real, not hypothetical. When the bars were open and they were walking through, I broke down. The joy, the relief, it wasn't just joy. It was vindication. It was mourning the past years and celebrating the future. I cried so hard. I shed so many tears. But these were different. Both my parents are coming home tonight or tomorrow. I still don't believe it's real. That was me. In full kind of sleepless, full of grace breakdown. Speechless, almost. The room upstairs. I was decorating and redecorating, preparing them for their new beginning 5. What it all means, this wasn't a political win. It wasn't a celebrity perk. It was justice restored for a family torn apart. My parents came home. We're planning birthdays, anniversaries, Christmases, all the moments we missed. We're becoming a family again, softer, stronger, more real. There will be new cameras, new shows, Lifetime, Hulu, ABC. But none of that matters like a home where your parents are free.